exhausted. And I wasn't even on the water helping these guys try and rescue their boat. Here's some really happy shots, which was very different to today. Although we did see some fantastic racing, so let's not forget that, guys. This is the America's Cup, the 36th edition, and today we wrapped up round robin 2 of the Prada Cup, the Challenger Series. Oh my gosh, I feel like we've all been a bit through the ringer, so I thought we should still have our AC chat and rap show, even though I know we're all exhausted. Far out. It's been massive. It's been a huge day, not only from race 1 today, which was actually race 5, which was actually race 2 of round robin 2. It's a bit hard to follow. That was abandoned and then resailed. That was between Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli and Ineos Team UK. And then we had the race between New York Yacht Club American Magic and Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli. Yes, I think we all know the outcome. I'm not allowed to spoil. But we will have to talk it, and we do need to talk about it, and we do need to unpack it, because I myself found it incredibly stressful. I think I'm actually really struggling with not being in New Zealand, guys. I usually would be on the ground. I would be there. I would be running around like a mad hen, so it's really strange not being there. It just shows you how much the world has changed, what we really need to focus on. And for me, that was making sure I could get my hands on as much content as possible for you guys. So it's fantastic to have you all with us. And Steve, who's also an Australian, is commenting. He said, no, just blame Dan Andrews. It's not Dan's fault. This is our Victorian Premier, one of our state premiers. But as everybody knows, it has been very difficult to travel this year. I usually travel to something like 80 events a year, up to 50. Well, I think it was 50 the year before COVID hit. So this year's a struggle for me. Today was particularly a struggle because, as we all saw, and I think here, spoilers, if you don't want to know what happened today, please cut your feed now. Today we saw New York Yacht Club American Magic capsize after this amazing maneuver. They were in the lead, they went around the top mark, and this happened. Now, we will unpack this further as the show progresses, but it was really tough for a lot of us, and I know it's tough for all of you in the US who are waking up to this news, but they were winning when it happened. So what does this show us? It shows us that they can win. They were as fast as Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, so my only hope is now that they have enough kit in the bag, essentially, to try and put their boat back together. That's all we're hoping. And Mark Gilly says, I had to take a Valium after some people's comments earlier, and we'll also unpack those. I have, quite a few comments on my feed. I can't keep up with everything, guys, so I'm doing my best to reply to everybody. But in case you don't know where to find me, and I did think about this today, I was like, gosh, I wonder if you guys actually know where to find me, because I've had a number of people today ask. Today, I was back in the Twitter sphere, and I was loving it. So if you haven't followed me before on Twitter, I was doing a play-by-play on my Twitter feed, which is @SailorGirlHQ, the same as on Facebook. And I was doing a really, really happy play-by-play, and I realized it's my fault, because if you scroll down to about here where we talk about something very interesting, where I say, New York Yacht Club have this one in the bag unless something major happens like the first race. My next tweet was, yep, like that. For your reference, that is something bad. This was talking to someone who was from outside sailing. So, yes, I blame myself, as I said in my caption. Not only was I so excited for them to have a win, and not because I'm American. I've had a few people commenting today that obviously I've got these comments about New York Yacht Club and I'm not passionate about their outcomes and who they should have on their team because I'm British. I'm not British. I'm not American. I'm not a Kiwi. I'm not Italian. I'm Australian, and I'm in Australia, so luckily I'm on the same time zone as the Cup. But without further ado, I think we should really get into unpacking what happened today. So, should we start with the first race, which was race 5 of round robin 2? Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli, Ineos Team UK, first attempt. We saw Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli leading a 90-degree wind shift. And I'm going back through my tweets now, so hopefully you're all following me on Twitter. And basically what I said was 90 degrees to the left. I'm just going to find it because it was actually quite funny. And thank you to everybody who was tweeting me today with their setups. That was quite cool too, how everybody's watching the cup. So I've also got this is really cool too, the differences in the foil shapes. That's on my Twitter. Well, that was wet and wild. I'm glad no one could see me watching that race. I did actually have a heart attack during the first attempt of race 5 today because I thought someone might capsize. Get this. That eventually happened. So race 5 was abandoned. There was a 45 to 90 degree shift to the left at times. And as they're coming down the run, Giles Scott says, I like it. As they pass Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli, they were at least 500 metres behind. They didn't have to jibe on the downwind. Ian Murray said, nope, no go. Race is called off. We waited a half an hour. And so in we went to race 5, attempt 2. So let's have a little bit of a look at the recap. This is the actual racing footage. So let's have a little bit of a look at this race where we thought Luna Rossa had Ineos under control for about 2 seconds.
Okay, go. Going straight. Go straight. Your way. Okay, here we go. Good pitch. Okay, copy. My wheel. Yours. Bearing away. Okay. Pressure this way. Yep.
There you see Ineos and Prada. They had tack for tack. Even Stevens round the top mark. Look at that, nice. 0. It was even.
Right, 30 metres. Yeah.
And Ineos went on to take the win over Luna Rossa. Prada, Pirelli. That makes it 4 from 4 wins. Undefeated. Fantastic effort. And it was actually such a pleasure to listen into the communication between, I know we've said it before, but the communication between Giles and Ben was not only talking about what was happening at that current moment, it was talking about, at the bottom mark, they're talking about what will happen for the next third, the middle third, and the top third. They were not only talking about that for their boat, they were talking about that for the other boat. You know, I don't think they'll lay from there. I don't think they'll do this. They're going to have to do a right-hand turn. Do you want to do a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn? Do you want to split? Do you want to be with them? I think the breeze is coming from here. It was strategy versus tactics all the time, not only for them, but for the boat that they were racing against. And that is match racing. And so my amazing bit from today was what a phenomenal race that was. At one point coming around the top mark together. And it was just beautiful. And you could see the frustration at various times from people. So, I mean, that was racing. And I was very excited and very pumped. And it all went down from there. So, I really apologise to everyone then for my comments for the next race, which may have, but really, New York Yacht Club were quite a long way in front of Luna Rossa, Prada, Pirelli in the next race. So I'm sure I'm not the only person who thought, wow, they've potentially got this in the bag. They might win a race. This could make this even more interesting. And it all went downhill from there. So I'll just have a little bit of a look at some of the comments from now. The Italians gave that to the Brits. Should not have split the racing. And Damien Bannister, I agree. We have this rule, and I'm thinking that Jimmy might be thinking it too. Katie Spithill and I have done a lot of sailing together. And it's, did X win the race or did I lose the race? And I hate to say this, but Jimmy kind of split from them in that race, and we saw him lose that one, I think. So, sorry, Jimmy. Really tough one, I know, but it was so great to see how close the racing could be. And Prada was matching it in breeze. We thought they'd only be fast in the light stuff, so that was exciting as well. No footage of throwing bananas overboard, says Christian Knott. Bananas are such bad luck. I blame the bananas for everything that happened today. It's their fault. They should be held accountable. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, during the broadcast, Ineos Team UK threw their lunch overboard, which included some bananas. They were like, done, go, in between race 5 attempt 1 and race 5 attempt 2. So their lunch just flew out and there were a bunch of bananas, and everyone in the sailing world knows bananas are bad luck, and then they did really well after that. So testament to our superstitions. Fantastic. Now, Steve says everyone will pull it together just like they always do, not just the US team at the end of the day. Oh my goodness. But we're going to unpack a few of these comments. I know you guys have been seeing some debates. I think I'm going to have to start a poll on my website, and I might need to talk to my amazing man Andrew about how we can do this. We need a few polls. Were Ineos Team UK sandbagging is one of them that we have. Should the America's Cup be on foiling boats is another one that we've seen pop up today, and a few people have already said that they've taken some Valium to deal with some of these comments. You've got nothing. Apparently, Tom Spithill and I are going to do the next America's Cup in the original America double-handed. I'm really excited. I might need a Valium and several wines. Anyways, back to the point. Race number 2 today, race 6, the final race of round robin 2. We were all pumped. We wanted to see if New York Yacht Club would improve. We wanted to see who was faster in the breeze. I don't think any of us could have picked what happened. There are lots of people pointing fingers at various people. The most important thing to tabulate and to know is that everybody is safe, as I've been reporting on my Facebook pages and on Twitter. Everyone is safe. Goal 1. Pointing fingers about who was right or wrong, at this point irrelevant. So I encourage you all on my Facebook page, if anybody points the finger at any individual, what we're going to do is post a hug emoji. Just a hug. And I've started doing this, and everybody who's been watching my Facebook feeds may have seen this. We're just going to post a hug emoji. Send them some positivity, because clearly they don't have much going on in their lives that they have to sit there and point the finger at somebody who's feeling really bad about what went down today. And speaking of, let's have a look at what went down today. Here it goes. Oh. And that's the moment. So, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli went on to win that race when New York Yacht Club retired, which means they have 2 wins, and Ineos Team UK have 4 wins in the round robin so far. Tough scenes, I know. And I'm really glad nobody was watching me. My Kelpie was. But yes, I burst into tears because, and not because I'm American, but because that and these scenes are incredibly heartbreaking. We've all sailed. We all know how hard it is when we capsize, but when these guys capsize, and thank you to StudioBorlenghi and the America's Cup for providing images within 2 seconds, these guys potentially now have to work really hard just to have a boat to get out on the water. Not to go and win, which is what we all want them to do as well. And I mean, I'm lucky, I'm Australian, I'm unbiased in this scenario, but I'm a sailor. And as a sailor, we all know how hard it is to basically feel like your dream is potentially over. So at this point, and that's why I'm saying hug emojis for all who try and point the finger at who may or may not have been wrong. I'm going to share with you an image. I don't know who it's by, but it's been sent to me, and I think this really wraps up everything about how amazing our sport is and why we love being sailors. And this was spotted out on the water today. I'm not sure if you recognise who that person is there on the screen. That is Pete Burling, the skipper of Emirates Team New Zealand. They weren't even racing today. That is Pete Burling helping to pull Team New York Yacht Club American Magic's mainsail out of the water. I think that pretty much sums up sailing and what an amazing community we are right there. I have plenty of other images, and I know a lot of you have seen them on my Facebook page or on Twitter. And for those watching on YouTube, thank you for joining us there as well. I really think that today, as hard as it was, we really saw what our sport was all about. Perhaps not when the official broadcast was on, but scenes like this of them surrounded by all of the support boats. Even the start boat was still out there. Ian Murray, who's the race officer, he's lost a boat before in an America's Cup, and I'm not sure how much you know of the history of Ian Murray, but he is obsessed with the America's Cup, and even the start boat was still out there helping. And everybody just got to it and really just helped to try and save this boat, which at the end, and I'll show you this footage now, and this is a bit disturbing, so I'm really sorry, everybody. If you don't want to see the boat as it's being righted, I encourage you to look away now. But here is the boat being righted and some of the scenes of everybody getting involved with the rescue. As it's righted, it's already partially submerged there, and we saw it go well down. You can see there from the air. So yes, incredibly tough, but from what I can see and from what we know, the maneuver, we'll unpack this. The maneuver, they were quite a ways in front. A tack and bear away maneuver, which we saw Ineos Team UK pull off perfectly. A tricky maneuver. We hear Goodison on board say, are we sure we want to do this? Any sailor who's been in front knows perhaps we should take it easy when we're in front. Maybe they were training as well, trying to see how much they could push the boat. That's okay. Tack, bear away, a puff of about 30 knots hits them. That was potentially unpredicted, made the maneuver even more difficult. A port backstay, whether it was eased or not, we don't know. We can't really speculate. Got caught on the mainsail and they then flew up in the air. And I'm not sure if you guys saw when I replayed that capsize footage, but when they land, you see the port foil arm really hit the water. And I'm not there. I don't know. I haven't actually spoken to the skippers themselves. But from what I can see, there's quite a lot of force. And if you've just joined us, you'll be able to look back and see that footage again. There's quite a lot of force on that port foil, and I believe that's where some of the holes happened. Then as sailors, we all know you can't bail or pump out a boat until you seal that hole, because the water will just keep getting sucked in through that hole. So there was a great effort to actually try and seal that hole with divers, with the Coast Guard. And I'm just going to read you now a little message from American Magic, which I also posted on my Facebook page. New York Yacht Club American Magic, the US challenger for the America's Cup, capsized in a strong gust of wind while leading around the final mark during a Prada Cup race shortly before 6 p.m. New Zealand daytime on Sunday, January 17th. All team members on board were quickly accounted for by the team's on-water safety personnel and declared safe. There are a lot of protocols involved from previous America's Cups of foiling nature. I think maybe you don't remember in 2013 when we were leading into that America's Cup and the crash with Artemis Racing. Goodison was on board that day, and he was on board New York American Magic today. So I'm sure there were a lot of memories for that team and that consortium on that day. But of course, they are all safe, which we are grateful for. The team's AC-75 racing yacht Patriot was damaged during the incident and began taking on water. American Magic received rapid assistance from the 3 other America's Cup teams. And can we add there also the Defender, as we saw that picture of Peter Burling, along with America's Cup Event Limited, which includes Emirates, the race management team, Big Fella and his team, Coast Guard New Zealand, the Auckland Harbour Master, and local fire and police personnel. Efforts to stabilise Patriot and get the yacht back to shore are currently underway, and we know that that was quite successful. American Magic is sincerely thankful for all of the assistance rendered to the team following today's incident, which I know we all appreciate as well. So, yeah, a Christian Knott has just commented and said they were stripping the boat as soon as it righted. I reckon the boys will do a full strip down and rebuild. Probably. After the writing, it was stated that American Magic was full of a lot of water. What will happen to the electrics? And I guess that's why they were stripping the hull, because they will have wanted to have rescued as many of those electrical systems as they can. So devastating. But as I said earlier, the first and foremost item is that all of these sailors are safe, and we haven't had to be reporting something far scarier and more sad this evening. So I think maybe we might need to start looking at some fun things now. Should we start looking at some fun things about what came out of today, besides the fantastic racing and the large amount of splash? And when we saw some of the commentators trying to swap to onboard footage, the sailors taking absolute gullets full of water, especially when they were getting ready for race 5. So unbelievable, really. So it's just so many different avenues today that you could talk about. It just shows you why we love sailing and why we love talking about it. But the most important thing is the people and the family that we're with all around the world. So yeah, I think that was something to remember today. And it doesn't matter whether it's a foiling 75-footer or an opti. When things go wrong, sailors are there and they help each other. And that's why we really love each other. So yeah, pretty phenomenal. Andrew Dolly Devola, shout out. He's a boat builder, and if he gets a call up to go to New Zealand, he better take me in his suitcase. There was the backstay issue, but it looked like the rudder foil cavitated. Yeah, I did wonder about this. They did have both foils down when they actually came out of that jibe as well. So there was a lot of lift going on. So I'm sure it was far more complicated than everyone is speculating, and I know that for sure. So it absolutely launches you out of the water. And I think that there were quite a few people that have commented about Boeing. And I guess this could be a good ad for Airbus versus Boeing. But it depends what you take as a success, I guess. And there's now a few people asking, was there serious damage? Yes, there was serious damage. That's why they were then seeking. So pretty crazy. Right. Should we unpack some of the fun stuff today? Because I had quite a bit of joy brought to me from your comments and making me feel more positive about what had happened today. So I thank you for that. And let me tell you, I do read every single one of your comments. I often don't sleep during these events. So thank you so much for the joy there. We have one particular adventurer who is on a rampage at the moment and not really keen on talking about anything positive to do with American Magic. So as I said earlier in the show, if you have just joined me, I've just resorted to posting a hug emoji. I feel that he needs a bit of positivity, and that's what we're going to do for any haters throughout this entire America's Cup, guys. If you see a comment on any of my posts, we're not going to react. We're not going to get into it unless it's entertaining. We're just going to post a hug emoji if that's what it comes to. Just a hug. We're going to send the positivity. Give them a little bit of love because they probably need it if they're getting that angry. That's what I think we should be doing. So, we've got a rant from Tony Bork here, by the way, and he has stated rant. Reading comments on here and other places, I'm always surprised that everyone thinks all sailboat racing should be the same and that America's Cup boats are all crap unless we go back to J-Class or even further. America's Cup is the Formula One of boat racing. Cutting edge, super light, super fast. But when they crash, they break up. Watch a Formula One crash. And this is my comment here. I've watched a lot of Formula One racing this year, and I also had my heart in my mouth a lot when there were crashes of the like. So I actually get what you mean now. I'm thankful for 2020 and my Formula One obsession now. So, cutting edge, super light, super fast. Hardly anything can be left of the car when they crash. But you don't hear all the fans say they should get rid of those and race 1940s cars instead. There is other boat racing just like there is other car racing. Want to watch J-Class racing? Well, guess what? You can! this is fantastic. Want to watch non-stop round-the-world racing in monohulls? Well, you can. America's Cup boats aren't ocean races, round-the-world races, heavy cruisers, or anything like that. So please stop comparing them to those boats and love them for what they are. End of rant. And I really do appreciate the code used in this comment too. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to like that. Thank you, Tony Bork. I value your comment and I value your feedback because we have some very similar threads along these lines, which has led to mine and Tom Spithill's campaign for the next America's Cup in the original America sailing double-handed. Stay tuned. You heard it here first. Oh my goodness. But as I'm looking through some of these comments, let's have a little bit of a look at some of these aerial pictures that I posted earlier. And you can see the pumps here and all of the floats that were being used, which essentially were marks from the racetrack. So great innovation and thinking there from the race team. Apparently every single support boat ran out to help as well. And I love how we just don't even think about that. It just happens. So yeah, it is a very, very special sport and a special time. We do bond out of adversity, I feel, as well. So a very interesting factor, that's for sure. While I'm looking for this thread, I thought we could also look forward to what the racing looks like from next week, depending on what happens in the next few days, of course, and which actual boats we manage to see get back out on the water, because it might not always be 3 boats at this point. It could be 2 that we see. Britannia rules the waves on that, says Dan Jaspers. Lovely to have you joining me. And well said, says Simon Jackson. Love the F1 of sailing. And again, it's so great to have you all joining me and sending me your comments. So I'll just summarize what the thread was today. Someone and then many others posted that they have an issue with America's Cup racing, to what led to me commenting and saying basically what we just heard from Mr. Book there, which was the reason why I love sailing and I do what I do. I mean, I'm not getting paid for covering the America's Cup as such right now. I'm doing this because I love sailing. And effectively, without the America's Cup, we wouldn't know about fiberglass boats versus wooden boats. We wouldn't know a lot of things in terms of technological development. The reason why we saw so many America's Cup sailors go and sail moths and work really hard in developing that part of our sport was because it was going to end up in the top end of our sport. And you don't have to be an America's Cup racer. I'm not an America's Cup racer. I really love just getting on my laser and going for a burn and reaching back and forward. I get on my paddleboard. I just love being on the water. And that's what it is when you're a sailor. You just love being on the water. And that varies across many different boats, many different spectrums, from cruising for an hour on your laser to cruising for a week to racing at the pinnacle of our sport. And I've done both. I'm not saying that I do one or the other, but we get to choose. That's the best thing about sailing. We get to choose. And it doesn't matter how old you are, what sex you are, whether you're able-bodied or not. One of my best friends is a blind sailor, and she is fantastic. And she's not worried about what boat she's sailing. She's just happy to get out there. And I absolutely love it. So it's absolutely a beautiful sport, and I love it. So we're stopping the hate speech after today. We're going to enjoy all of the good things. And as I mentioned, I think we should look at the weather for what's coming up for the schedule, as we basically see a repeat of what happened over Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll have round robin 3 and 4. Hopefully we'll see all 3 boats racing, and I'm sure that they will get out on the water. I remember in Bermuda how much every single team helped the others when something went wrong with Emirates Team New Zealand, when something went wrong with Groupama. We saw quite a bit of gear getting swapped over and people helping each other, and I love that about our sport as well. And back to the comments for just 1 second, and I'll come back to this. Someone's mentioned Lucy and that she's fantastic, and that is who I was talking about, was Lucy Hodges, the blind sailor. She is great. So let's have a little bit of a look at the weather. for what is coming up. And this is quite a little ways out. So I've got this lined up for start time on Friday, where we'll basically see a repeat. So we'll have two races, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that will be the end of 4 round robins. And then we progress to the next stage, which is trying to work out who will go on to face Emirates Team New Zealand. Now you can see here in our beautiful Predict win, we've got the PWG and PWE models up. It's looking like that southwesterly direction once again on Friday. Again, a long way out, but a little bit of breeze too. And by little bit, I mean moderate, 10 to 15 knots. I will not pray for 25 knots. I will not pray for 25 knots. I will not pray for 25 knots of breeze in this America's Cup. I may have asked for a lot more breeze after yesterday, and I'm sure a few of us did. So shame on us. Oh, golly. Absolutely crazy. So that's what we're looking ahead to. I'll see if I've got an image of the full schedule, though it is a little bit difficult to see on the live feed, so I do apologize for that. I might post it for you guys actually so you can see it. But you will see here, as I mentioned, the pairings for race 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 of round robin 3 and 4. And then we go on to round robin 2 versus round robin 3. So effectively, that's when we could see New York Yacht Club American Magic join us. Worst case. That would be worst case. But best case, we'll see them this week. And I doubt that they won't want to be out on the water. But worst case, that's where they could join in. And they could still make it. They could still be the semi-final winner and go up against the first ranked from round robin 1. So I cannot reiterate that there is such a long way to go in this. Everybody thinks that it's over on day 1. It isn't. There's a very, very long way to go. So I hope you enjoyed my recap for this afternoon. I feel a little bit flighty and emotional, and like we've been through the washing machine together, and I'm sure there's still a long way to go. I thought this afternoon, I was like, wow, a capsize. These never happen. Except for last week when Emirates Team New Zealand capsized. And I'm wondering if we're going to have more capsizes in this America's Cup. I'm just wondering. So Mark Gillies says it's only baby steps, and that's so right. And the Brits need one more win, says Duncan Adams. I think that's correct, but I'm not going to say that publicly. We're not meant to announce a winner before the winner's due. And Campbell says, if the US is out till semis, doesn't that mean UK goes through to the finals? No, Campbell, I just ran through that. So what ends up happening is you have the 4 round robins, then second and third from the round robin face off to race against the winner from the round robin, and then that winner goes through to the America's Cup as the challenger. So there's still a long way to go, guys. Still such a long way to go. It's okay. We have a lot of racing ahead. Amanda Scott, you're welcome. Thanks for this report. I haven't got Foxtel. For everybody wondering how to watch the racing, I do post a link every day on Facebook and on my Twitter of how you can watch, or you can just go straight to my website, which is www.sailorgirlhq.com, and you'll see it there. I embed the YouTube links for those lucky enough to be able to watch them. I also have a Twitter feed there going now, so I'm commentating the racing as it's happening on Twitter. You're welcome to join me. We're always on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, commenting on what's happening and going over the items of the day and digressing them and digesting them in not only a serious way but a humorous one as well. So again, thank you for all of your support today. Thank you to all of those sailors who helped New York Yacht Club American Magic today, and all of those non-sailors from the emergency personnel as well today. I know I speak on behalf of sailors worldwide who weren't able to be there and to support you. So thank you so much for joining me today. I know it's going to be better on Friday. Fingers crossed New York Yacht Club American Magic actually get to join in the racing. That would be great. Enjoy your Sunday. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you very soon.